All right, so Justin, I'm sorry to rain on your parade a little bit because you did mention this man earlier, but my fool's gold is Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys, and I have look that he's been okay. Week 1 was not bad. He had 6 catches, 45 yards. Week 2 didn't do much, but week 3 he had 7 catches, 6 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now I was watching this game because I had a lot of fantasy stuff riding on it, and it was making me so upset that these touchdowns were going to Dalton Schultz instead of CeeDee Lamb, but they did. And it's weird because the Cowboys were up, right? But they still had to drive the ball, and they were scoring like almost every time they got the ball, they were taking it down the field. And then it was almost like opposite garbage time where a team's up, but they have to play offense, right? So they were up a lot and they kept scoring instead of like getting a field goal or a rushing touchdown. They were throwing to Dalton Schultz. So we all know touchdowns are fluky, so you can't necessarily rely on touchdowns. He still has an okay game, 6 catches, 80 yards, like we were talking about earlier. If you had that over a Jonnu Smith or a Cole Kmet, you're happy with it. But my problem is how much him and Blake Jarwin actually share the field. So they basically have been split, like as far as reps go, and I just don't like that. Look, I think it's one of them can go off either week. It's kind of like Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. You don't really know, and I would rather pivot to a situation where I know there's one guy there instead of look any week it could be Dalton Schultz or Blake Jarwin. And look, high volume offense, high passing offense. Yes, you look at these stats lines and you're kind of impressed with them. But I just think temper your expectations. That is all I'm saying. Don't think that Dalton Schultz could do this every week for you. It's not necessarily going to happen. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever do this, but I'm just using this as an example. Is like, what if somebody rosters TJ Hawkinson and Dalton Schultz and they look at just the performances from last week and they're like, I'm going to start Dalton Schultz. Don't do that. Just stick with the consistent guys. I agree with you, Justin. If this continues, if he has one more good week, he moves from a guy I would say is a fool's gold to like a guy, okay, I wouldn't name him as a fool's gold, looking solid, but I'm just saying temper our expectations on Dalton Schultz this week and going forward. Maybe you disagree with that since you mentioned him earlier?
No, I hear you. What I said earlier was more for the people that are stuck in tight end hell like I am, but it's
Yeah.
something to keep an eye out because the difference between winning your league and losing your league is playing the waiver wire. And when your only weak position is tight end, it makes you lose games. But then if you can find one that's consistent, you turn into an elite team. So if Schultz carries this over, it's worth keeping an eye on because if you can solve that problem, that's amazing. So I still prioritize Conklin and Knox over Schultz, but I still am watching Schultz.